Hello, hello. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for the Witches Movie Coven. Grab your goat, grab a drink, and grab a mirror, maybe? Because tonight we're talking about The Conjuring 4, The Last Rites. I think we already did a Conjuring movie, or a one or
I
two
think
or three, but now
3
we're
of
doing
them.
4. Yes, we're doing 4.
I thought this was Conjuring 9.
But well, maybe one day we will do Conjuring 9. But for now, we're doing Conjuring 4. But before we do that, we need to talk. We need to see who we are here. How about we start with Richard-Lael?
I am Richard-Lael. It's one name, not two. If I were Richard, I'd be a psychic medium. Used to be a psychic small till I gained some weight. That being said, I'm here in New Orleans. I am well known on all manner of paranormal things, ghost adventures, University of Magicus, this new thing called House of Alchemy, which I'm working on. I'm everywhere. I'm easy to find. Oh, I forgot. Join the coven. Come over here. If you want to sleep with me, you may go right over to that QR code, wherever it is, MrControl.com. You can sleep with me via the pillow. You used to be able to get in Patty's panties, but they're a little bit tight these days. However, you can read our books. You can be a bro witch. You can get Courtney's quotes. You can buy some art if you like. Right over there. Join the coven right over there. Oh, also like, subscribe, comment. We do read them, and it does help us to continue to do great shows for you. So we see you. We love you. Thank you for the comments.
And with that, let's pass it over to the next person in the Hollywood Square, Courtney.
That's me, Courtney Buckley, ghost bait on Scared and Alone. And I feel like there's going to be some hexing tonight.
Uh-oh.
Just, I'm not a psychic medium or small, but just a prediction and a guess. And I'm looking at you, Jason, but who knows?
Holy
anyway.
crap. We haven't even started yet.
We're getting
I haven't
started.
even had time to mangle your name.
And speaking of Jason, go ahead, take it away.
My name is Jason Mankey. I see the world, at least tonight, through rose-colored glasses. I'm the author of 10 books. This is one of them, The Witches Book of Spellcraft. I'm easy to find at your local bookstore.
And our regular guest, Scarlett Amaris.
We're going to have that joke forever. Hi, I'm Scarlett
Yes.
Mars. I'm a screenwriter and television writer, also a novelist. I have directed music videos, and yeah, that's it. I am kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to writing. Oh, and I'm a mythologist. I lecture on mythology all the time. And yes, I'm easy to find on the social medias.
Thank you for joining us again. It's great to see you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I am Heather Greene. I am stepping in for Patti Negri, who is off doing Patti things in the world. And we miss her terribly. Hopefully we'll see her back soon. But for tonight, we're going to move forward. I am, again, Heather Greene. I'm the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. And I think I have a copy to hold up here. There it is. And it is the critical history of witches in film and television. And one of the books, before we get started, one of the movies in my books is called Spellbinder. And I actually was asked about a year ago or so to be interviewed to talk about Spellbinder and witches during the satanic panic. And there it is. So Spellbinder, here it is. Or there's the graphic. I'm holding the box. It came today, and I am on the DVD, the Blu-ray, and it says my name even right here. I was very excited. And there's an interview inside, and it comes in this nice box. Who would have thought a movie from the 1980s that it was not an award winner got a nice little new package and a box? And this is the best part. Look at this, y'all. Look at all the stuff that comes with it. This is like, you would think this would be a Godfather movie, and it's Spellbinder, a witch movie from the 80s.
A what movie?
Oh, witch movie. Yes, I know. Who's on third? I see you. We've been doing this too long. But it comes with the shooting script. Oh, I haven't even opened it yet. It comes with a book all about the movie, because that's what you wanted right there. Look at this little book. Woo! Pictures and everything from the movie. Oops, there you go. There's the camera. Pictures and everything from the movie. And of course, ouch, the movie itself. And I cannot wait to rewatch it and watch my interview. Let's see how much they used. So anyway, we hopefully will be doing this movie next week so we can talk more about it and dive into all of these wonderful things.
And
So
we'll
with
be
that,
giving a wands up or wands down to Heather's performance on the Blu-ray extras.
That's
You
right.
know, there could be hexing. We will see.
Yeah, Spellbinder. So cue that up for next week, because we are going to be discussing this fabulous 1980s movie. Y'all, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. So moving on to this week's movie, I think we need to start with Richard-Lael, who's going to give us a synopsis for everybody who didn't watch The Conjuring 4.
That is true. So it is Passover. And if you pass over this movie, I will stop there. So this is the fourth and supposed final film, even though it's not the final film. They'll be holding on to this franchise until I'm dead. So if you like the 1980s and are not tired of horror films that are shot now, taking place in the 80s, and if you love slow-moving demons, you will love this film. And here's the synopsis. Okay. So the Warrens obviously didn't have a warrant when they broke in and broke a mirror that obviously had a demon behind it that wanted to murder her unborn child, but then wanted to wait 26 years because it wanted to sort of come back to the Warrens via the guy at the flea market, and then the Smurf family. Yes, they're the Smurfs. It's the 80s. Don't come at me. So the Smurf family is dealing with poltergeists, crazies, because a giant mirror that was touched by an angel, a demonic angel, made its way into the home in this Pennsylvania house. And of course, there were 8 children living in a 3-bedroom house. And of course, they were not going to go crazy. Of course. And then it waits until it is revealed, before the dog even notices that there's a demon attached. Baby lives, by the way. The unborn baby doesn't breathe for a minute. And then, of course, when she goes into Lorraine's hands, then of course nobody's wearing a face mask in 1969. Nobody's wearing a face mask, and the power goes out on the hospital, and she's there. Nobody wears a face mask, and then the baby is dead, clinically dead, for a full minute, and then suddenly the baby comes back to life. And instead of doing, I don't know, medical things, they say, "What are you going to name her?" So we find out that it's Judy. Judy is the daughter of Ed and Lorraine. And while it's convoluted because the film is convoluted. So back in 1969, when she's expecting, she touches this mirror. In the reflection, you see a priest who's hanging, a well-hung priest. That happens a lot.
Bravo, sir.
So then in the 80s, it was supposed to be, the original haunting was from like 76 until 89. This is like 80, 86. It's like that's when it is, which I wish they would have 86 this film. That's another story for another day. Anyway, demons, slow moving for an hour. And then, of course, the mirror gets thrown out into the garbage and doesn't wake up any of the house, because of course not. And then the mirror gets crushed by the dumpster. And of course, girl coughs up broken glass. George Glass. He goes to another school. Anyway, she ends up by coughing up blood, goes to the emergency room, more slow-moving things. Long story short, Judy ends up by getting engaged with this guy that they don't really approve of, who's a cop, who wastes time telling the story as to why he's no longer a cop. And then, of course, the old lady gets pushed down the stairs. So this is the grandmother. But they don't show us that, of course, because that would be a real demon attack. They want to spend more time playing bad ping pong in the garage. And then there's like the junk room that looks like a thrift store, the Goodwill. Don't touch anything. It's all demonic. Even the toys are demonic, whatever. Annabelle doll, broken mirror. Judy comes to the house. Oh, we have to help the Smurf family. Ed and Lorraine, for the umpteenth time, decide that they're going to fight demons again, even though they've told us every time that he has a heart condition. And they tell us that every effing movie, at least 15 times, we know he has a heart condition. There's the Smurf family right there, by the way. The haunting of the Smurf family. And then, of course, they go into the house. Car doesn't start. Trying to move the mirror to take it back, which somehow found its way after being crushed back into the attic. I don't know how this happened because I was watching it at 4 times the speed. This was at the end of the movie. Wedding, roll credits. I don't know. I don't know. Read Wikipedia. I don't know. I watched it. I don't know.
Wow. That was the most unbiased review and synopsis you've done yet. Totally.
I don't think I even have an inkling how Richard-Lael is going to vote later.
No idea.
He
I'm
does
baffled.
surprise us sometimes. Like he can trash a movie the whole show, and I think I've got someone with me, and then suddenly it's wands up. So don't count your wands before they rise or fall, Courtney.
We'll see.
That is true. That is true. As the ones we call for the wands, there's a grin on Richard-Lael's face, a snicker, and we know this is not going the way we expected.
Smurf family.
Been smurfed.
Well, with that, let me move on to some facts and figures and some interesting things. And I think Scarlett's going to chime in after that with some more interesting things that she knows about some of the creators of this film. I believe I heard. So let me go through my first 5. So we have the basics that we need to know. So this movie just came out 2025 fall. It was the early September. In fact, I believe we reviewed Conjuring 3 right around the time it came out. It takes place in the beginning of 1964 and then 1986, but it is a 2025 film. It's the 4th in the Conjuring series. And it is directed by Michael Chavez, and the writer is Ian Goldberg, Richard, and David Johnson McGoldrick. So some of these folks already worked on some of the other ones. Some of them didn't. But this movie grossed a huge amount of money. And I want to talk about that as a comparison to the other ones, because someone before the show started talked about diminishing returns. Well, I think that in terms of finances, the producers would disagree. So you have the opening of 2013 of the first one. Its budget was 20 million. It had adjusted for inflation 202 million so far is how much it's done. Opening weekend was 42. So it did really well. That's why we have a franchise, right? Oh, that did well. Let's do another one. The next one was a 40 million budget. Its adjusted gross domestic is 141. It didn't make as much money. The next one, 2021, was 40 million, same budget. It grossed 77 million, even less. So it didn't do as well. But they did go on, we're going to end this, we're going to end it. It's popular enough. Let's do a 4th one. 4th one, budget was 55 million. Opening night, it had 84 million, opening weekend, it grossed 84 million. And since it's had 178 million. So this last one did far better than number 2 and 3. So diminishing returns perhaps in our enjoyment, but not in money. It actually it earned more money than the other show. I think it was It that was playing that same weekend, and it outdid It, which is pretty spectacular because considering that movie, what that is. Let's talk about the Smurl case now, or the Smurf case, or the Smurl case. It was the 80s. It happened in Pennsylvania. This movie does not accurately tell that story, as we see with all of these. They don't accurately tell the story. This is a fiction tale. They do have to write something that people are going to want to watch on the screen. So it's not. It wraps in that mirror. The mirror is not part of the original story. As Richard-Lael did say, the hauntings went over a period of time from the 70s to the 80s. According to my research, the family moved out of the house in 87. There was a book out in 86 called The Haunted. There was a movie in 91 called, I don't know what it was called actually, the movie. Is that the movie or is that the book? The movie was a made-for-TV movie in 1991. They did believe that there were demons there. There was a demon there and for spirits. That is something that they did say. However, the Warrens did not do the final exorcism. The Warrens did one bunch of exorcisms left, and then they had a secret one with the Catholic Church in the early 90s. The family had moved out by that point. Then they went back and did the exorcism of that house. It was a 1986 case. Again, the Warrens, the daughter, the mirror, all of that stuff did not happen in conjunction with the Smurl case. They did have a mirror, though. There was a mirror at apparently the Warrens did have a mirror, but that was not part of the Smurl case.
I have things to say about that later.
Yay! Okay, so of course, as in art, we see in all these stories, they definitely stretch the story and move it around in order to give us a movie, versus just a story that might not be quite as exciting to watch on screen. So the cast brings back our favorites and our maybe not favorites. I'm not sure. Of course, Patrick Wilson. I didn't know he was Raoul in Phantom of the Opera, but I was always excited if I can bring up a musical. He was in Insidious and Watchmen, and of course, all of the Conjuring movies. That's where we know him best from, perhaps. Vera Farmiga, of course. I just saw her in something, and I can't remember what it was. I was surprised to see her. It was an older movie, but she was in The Departed, the Bates Motel TV show, Up in the Air, and of course, all the Conjuring movies. We have Ben Hardy. He is playing Tony Spera, who is still alive, and he is Ben Hardy was in Bohemian Rhapsody. There he is behind there. And X-Men Apocalypse. I don't recognize him from either one, but okay. And Mia Tomlinson, the daughter, plays the daughter. She was in the Lost Pirate Kingdom show. She plays the daughter. And they are both still alive and running the organization, the Psychic Research Organization, as far as I know. And then the Steve Coulter, he was in Oppenheimer. He was the priest at the beginning. I just thought I'd bring him up. So those are a few of the cast members of this one. Now let's talk about the Conjuring. I did this the last time we did the Conjuring, and I want to do this again, and there's a reason. So the Conjuring universe, kind of like the Marvel universe, has a lot more movies than these four. So I'm going to read them in order, write them down now, in order of the years that they take place. The way you can watch them in the years that they take place, rather than the years they were made. I love doing this, so I will do this probably at some point because I haven't seen all of them. But you start out in 1952 with The Nun. Then in 1955, Annabelle Creation. In 1956, you go to The Nun 2. 1967, Annabelle. 1969, The Conjuring, that started this whole thing, of course. And then in 1972, Annabelle Comes Home. 1973, The Curse of La Llorona. 1977 is Conjuring 2. 1981 is Conjuring 3. 1986 is Conjuring 4. And, drumroll please, Conjuring 5, which is a prequel, which is supposedly in the works. I don't know what year it's going to take place, but it's a prequel, so I'm guessing we're going to be looking at somewhere in the 60s when the Warrens were young. And
Hopefully,
if that was
hopefully it's Ed and Lorraine as children. That would be great. Like, she's 6, she's just finding her psychic powers. Ed is just been exposed to a demon, and everybody at their nursery school thinks they're crazy. Let's make that as a film. Sorry for interrupting, Heather.
no, there's I don't know. It says prequel when they're young. It could be, Jason. It could be.
Conjuring babies, like Muppet babies.
Muppet babies, the Warren babies.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough for you, if you still can't get enough, HBO has in the works a TV series based on The Conjuring. So that's coming your way. And maybe a musical too. I haven't found that yet, but Conjuring the musical, I am in. So
let's write that one. I think I could do that one.
Okay.
Don't look in the mirror.
That's right.
Exercise the demon. No fat demon. No fat demon.
Ed's gonna have a heart attack. Oh, my heart hurts. It looks like I'm going down. Watch out for Ed. Watch out for Ed. Sorry.
Annabelle,
Yeah.
Annabelle, my girl, Annabelle. Anyway, so figure I'd join in there. And
What is that?
Oh my God. There you go. Conjured, a parody musical. We conjured the musical. Hopefully they took our pointers. I do want to make one other point, and then we can move on. And I know, Scarlett, you have some more stuff, facts and figures that would be fun. But I want to point out is if you were watching the wedding scene at the end closely, you will notice that some of the guests in the scene that were watching the wedding are from the other movies. You have the actors that were in the first one, the Perones, Lily Taylor and Mackenzie Foy were there. The Hodgsons from the second movie. You had Frances O'Connor and Madison Wolfe. The third movie, the Glatzel family, you had one, the little boy, he's older now. He was also there at the church wedding. And of course, the 4 of the Smurls or the Smurfs were there. So that was kind of neat. As she's walking down, you see some of the actors that were in the original 4 movies, just a little piece. And there were some other little things to look at as well, but I'll bring those up later. So Scarlett, you had some pointers. You want to talk about the film?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love this film the way that I love the first Conjuring. The first Conjuring is such a great movie, but and so scary. Like, it has one of the best jump scares that I've ever seen in any film. And I know some of the people that worked on the first film. Like, I know the DP, John Leonetti. I developed a television show with him a few years back. He's a lovely man, but I think he was probably very instrumental in developing the look of the film, which it's interesting that the series is so readily identifiable. It's always slightly desaturated. Like, it really has done a good job of creating the look of its universe. Like, it's one of those, one of the films right away. This film, I thought that the writing was a little weak, especially in the second half. The first half was fine, but like, we did not need Judy's love story. I want to know, this really bothered me. Okay, you've got this demon that tries to take her out when she's a baby, right? Doesn't do it, waits however many years, finally gets her, and then just like tries to hang her. Like, why would it finally gets on her body and it doesn't do anything? It was like that, like, why would it lay in wait for so long? And then it was just so anticlimactic. It was so anticlimactic that really, like, I don't enjoy a plot hole like that. And I know this movie made a lot of money, and I know people really liked it, but the ending is just really silly. Like, I didn't need the spinning mirror. Why was there a giant Annabelle? Like, why are they talking to their the images of themselves? Like, it was just, it felt really tacked on. But I will say this, like, this franchise has made a huge amount of money. I know that on the first film, everyone who worked on that first film made a lot of money. Like, it was shocking how much money that made. And this continues to be a huge popular franchise. I wish that they would make less films, but that, you know, like I could have done without this film, but at the same time, like the numbers don't lie. So yeah, but they have done a very good job of creating a very specific look for their films, and a specific look, a readily identifiable look of their universe. That's for sure. And you know, like everybody kind of loves the Warrens. You know, you're rooting for them. Although this time I wasn't. I just was like, this is like the messiest ending I've seen forever. Like, you know, really this kumbaya, like holding hands, it's all going to be great. And like that last vision of her, like, oh, it's all going to be perfect. It's like the happy ending. Like, it felt so anticlimactic to me. So yeah, I did not love it.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Love. True love. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Who wants to go next? Oh, Courtney.
Me. Okay, I will say this. I will readily admit that of all of the movies in the Conjuring universe, this one is my least favorite. However, I am a diehard fan of the Conjuring movies as a whole, so I will say that I am a fan of this one also. But I will readily admit that there is probably, I think I probably got my own personal jump scare for this at the end of the movie, which made it better because it wasn't that scary. It's fine. It wasn't that scary. But I actually got to go, I think it was back in 2010 maybe, to the Warrens' house when Lorraine was still alive and Tony was giving tours, and I got to go meet Lorraine. She like answered the door. It was like my grandmother's house. It was there. Oh, there we are. We got to talk with Lorraine, ask her questions. They showed us a video like on a VHS tape of an exorcism that they had participated in. It was the scariest thing that I've ever seen, and I've never seen anything like it until I watched my own face in our Velisca episode of Scared and Alone, so that was terrifying. But then we walked into the museum, and we got to go on a little tour of the museum, and me being likely on the spectrum, I had watched whatever walkthroughs I could find of the museum before I went. So if we can go back one, there is this corner right here. This is the first corner you walk in, and they do it. They like when you walk in, they tell you, don't touch anything. If anything touches you or you accidentally touch something, you need to tell us because we need to take care of it. Like whatever, don't mess around with anything, yada, yada, have respect, whatever. And so we're walking through, and there was one, it was like a demonic idol, they called it, or something that the videos of it had scared me. So I was like on high alert for that. But I walked in and I saw Annabelle, and I went over towards Annabelle, and then I stopped, and I was like, something is telling me to turn back around. I have to go back to that corner. So if we can go back to that first picture, you'll see there's this full-length mirror with that like gold trim, and there is that, it's like kitty cornered in a wall like this, and that other wall is made of mirror with shelves on it. And something told me to go back and take a picture, and I did. And so if you go to the next picture, you can see a face, and that's the mirror reflected in the mirror wall. And I asked about the mirror, the full-length mirror, because for whatever reason, that was what was calling out to me. And Tony told me that it was a conjuring mirror. So, that people would stand in front of it and conjure spirits or whatever. So it had energy attached to it. Fine. Continue on the tour. Annabelle said hi to Annabelle. The idol was terrifying and awful, and I hated it. And then we got to go ghost hunt with Lorraine. We visited Ed's grave. We ghost hunted in a cemetery for like 20 minutes with Lorraine Moore. It was like, I don't know, the highlight of my life at that point. And then we got to go out to dinner and like talk with her. And she's one, like, I know that there's controversy about the Warrens, about Ed specifically. Lorraine, however, you could tell that she just loved Ed like that. And that to me is one of the things that these movies do very well, is that their relationship speaking to nothing else, just like the way she talks about him, like you can feel that when she's talking, which is beautiful. Having said that, when I saw the first Conjuring movie in the theater, there was a like a little merry-go-round thing or whatever that they opened, and there was a little mirror in it, and it reflected a spirit over the back of their shoulder, and I lost my mind because I remembered about the Conjuring mirror, and I was like, that must be it, you know. And now I'm all freaked out because I have a picture. I meanwhile emailed the picture to Tony, and I said, you know, I think I got something, and he wrote back and was like, yeah, like there's nothing, you know, whatever. Oh, there it is, 2010. That's an email between me and Tony. So he said, yeah, he saw it too, you know, and mansplains ghosts to me and whatever. But either way, in my mind, I have a ghost photo that is corroborated by the Warrens. And this is before, you know, like I've done Scared and Alone or anything like that. But he had gone on to say that there was nothing there that would have reflected in that or anything like that. So now I'm living my life having seen the original Conjuring, thinking that this has taken place. This is the mirror. I have a connection to the Conjuring. This is crazy. And then I sit through the Conjuring Last Rites in the movie theater, and I sit through the credits, and at the very end, they're showing photos. Mm-hmm. And one of the photos is Ed standing in that corner that I took a picture of next to the mirror that I took a picture of. And I think I almost passed out because I thought, oh my God, this is it. Like they're confirming it again. There's a movie about it now. Like I called everyone I knew. I pulled up that picture. I thought this is crazy. So honestly, whether or not the movie is great doesn't matter. In my brain, I was haunted by the Conjuring Last Rites because I have a picture of it. So it's special in my heart, even though it's not the greatest one. So there it is. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I would like, if I may, to corroborate something with you. So where I am not a fan of the Warrens, I am not a fan of their faith being pushed so much and the literal demonizing. However, as a witch, as someone who grew up Pentecostal, there are elements that are correct. The Conjuring in the mirror. That is something that I myself do. In fact, when I lived in Pasadena, I had walls of mirrors. I lived in a Victorian with an octagon room, and I had mirrors facing mirrors. And that's where, of course, the table tipped in my Ghost Adventures episode. The room would actually shake. And then when I moved away from there, they weren't old mirrors, and several people actually wanted to buy my haunted mirrors because I actually did use them in rituals. So that does happen. And you can actually use mirrors to contact spirits. It's a portal. It's absolutely what it is. In fact, I heard this little boy, a savant, little child, say, when you look in the mirror, it's a portal, and you have to say nice things to yourself because that portal goes all over, and then in some universe you hear it and it comes back to you. So always look in the mirror, say nice things to yourself, say nice things to people. There's a little bit of feng shui as far as architectural things go too. Place it over a fire, reflect the light. You don't want to face a door. You don't want the mirror facing the bed. These are because it is literally a portal. That being said, as far as exorcisms go, I have been privy to some exorcisms. I was Pentecostal. Now there's a lot of hand waving and snake charming, which is, in my opinion, BS. But I do think that sometimes people have interactions that they don't know how to deal with, and it has to manifest in a certain way. Now, I would look at it more as a professional myself and say, okay, where can I help you? And now where do you need to go get professional help? Which is why the Catholic Church now says, before you do anything, see a psychiatrist. I agree with that. That's it.
Jason, you have an opinion about this one?
Oh, gods. So I basically tapped out after the third one with all of the ridiculous satanic panic witch stuff, which to me absolutely ruined this franchise. It had always been the sort of Catholic version of the MCU before that, but that took it to this really extreme place where it felt like I wasn't wanted because my beliefs did not sit hand in hand with Ed and Lorraine. I watched this movie because I knew people would ask me about it. As soon as it hit HBO Max, I was done giving this franchise my money in a theater, and I immediately forgot about it and thought it was the third movie because it just doesn't make much of an impression as a film. The first one, as Scarlett said, notice that name, Scarlett. As Scarlett said, it is a great film. It's a really terrific movie all the way through. And there is one of my favorite jump scares in that movie as well. Pretty early in, but it got me really good at the theater. And the second one was okay. And then the third just straight down the hill. And the fourth just kind of keeps that going on that same trajectory. The story made very little sense to me. It was way over the top with the priest committing suicide. I mean, really, did we need that? I don't think that we needed that. And as Richard-Lael pointed out in his synopsis, you know, like the demon just sits there for 20 years waiting. And this girl is at her lowest point on like one of the best moments of her life. That doesn't make any sense. You show up again when when she gets heartbroken at 14. That's when it shows up, right? Not when you're euphoric and full of energy and passion for life. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of this movie. And as I said earlier, the franchise is definitely diminishing returns in terms of story. If you're interested in the true stories behind these films, less and less every time is true. I mean, it's true that Ed probably had a heart attack, and that might be just about it when it comes to what's true in this story. You know, they've all been embellished, but the third and fourth ones were just embellished to the point where they shouldn't be using like real people to represent any of this. Sorry, Courtney, I'm ready for my hexing.
I'm going to jump in there before the hexing, and you can feel free to just warm yourself up while I'm talking, and then get ready to do it. I think I agree with what everybody's saying. This is a weak film, and the first one was brilliant, and the next ones were not as. I do enjoy the Warren stories, true or not true. I love the demonic hauntings to maybe left over from watching this kind of stuff from the 80s. But I want to point out this is what's kind of interesting to me. I think it would have been far more interesting of a film if they had focused on the Smurl case, the Smurf case. That was really well timed. Thank you, Rob. Because what's interesting to me is that in reading about it, I read some articles about it, the Smurl case, and what happened is that they told the media that they were having hauntings. And this is the middle of the satanic panic. And so that's why you saw all the media there, and it went crazy. And so that was interesting to me, is that there was this panic. The panic had created this national curiosity out of this case, and there's suggestions that the case, it was actually just psychosis, and there's proof that some of them had medical issues and whatever. Whether there was or not, whether the film story with the Warrens and everything turns into, is skewed, and there's demons and they do all of that stuff. If they had left off the whole love story part of it and actually focused on the Smurl case and got into the satanic panic and did that and focused on the demon and didn't have that demon walking around with a pitchfork like he's off of a farm, that guy, and then that guy. I like it better when you see the demon less, and he was everywhere. I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck? But I think that they'd focused on that and stepped us away. The problem is, my guess is that they did the family story because this was supposed to be the wrap up. This was supposed to do what the last Stranger Things did. So they added that personal, this is our family, we're retiring, she's getting married, everybody's happy, and that's the end of the franchise. Exactly. See, I'm sensing that we're going to have to put the Smurfs on the calendar now for the future episode, but that's my sense. So I do enjoy, I agree everything what you guys say. The Warrens were who they were. I know that they did have a perspective that was very different than our own, but I do enjoy the stories, and I do enjoy the films as films for the most part in what they are. This one was the weakest of all of them, but I do think it's super cool that Courtney saw the mirror, even though it really wasn't part of the story. But that's a super cool. I went to the Conjuring house and I wore my shirt, so for this. But that's my feeling about it. But there were some Easter eggs. Did you guys see? They were throwing horror Easter eggs around.
Which is appropriate for Passover.
Yeah, exactly. They were throwing them out. You had the penny loops with the clown on it. I don't know if you guys saw that. The little thing. There's a few of them. There was Annabelle showed up in the early, of course, doll Susie. I was trying to figure out what doll she is, but they made her. She's not an actual doll. They worked that, and then there was a few others. The mirror scene captures it's a standard horror thing. So there was a few things around that they did, which I was like, oh, look at that. I don't know. I noticed things like that. But anyway, do we have quotes?
Can I ask a question of Courtney?
Oh.
Can I ask Courtney a question?
Yeah.
So watching a movie, it feels like they're setting up Tony and Judy for their own spin-off series. Do they do investigations?
So
Courtney?
I'm pretty sure they're the ones that took over Nesper.
They do.
I don't know about Judy as much as Tony did. And I haven't followed like what exactly they've been doing since like Lorraine died. Mostly again because like now I'm in the world and my views are a little bit different, so I haven't really kept up on it. But yeah, they're the ones that are dealing with the people who have the house now.
Yeah.
Tony has Tony, I reached out to him for the Annabelle article we wrote. So he was involved in the Annabelle traveling.
Yeah.
So they definitely are still running it.
Yeah, and I know that I've caught glimpses of like they do live videos when they have to like clean her fish tank, I don't know, whatever, but they like do live videos of like taking her out and having the priest there and like doing all this stuff when they're being very careful, like moving her to her travel case or whatever. So I know that they do that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
I'm friends with them on Facebook.
I know if I had the most like concentrated evil doll in the world, I would want to take it on tour. That's just what I would do to share that evil with everyone else.
Well, that feels like another part of the controversy because Ed and Lorraine were so dead set on keeping those items safe and protected and keeping people safe and protected from those items that it feels like a choice to take it on tour.
If I had the doll, I would take her out and have tea parties with her. You just know I would.
Patty danced with her. Patty danced with Annabelle. She talks about it.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to them. I have some haunted dolls. Mm-hmm. I talk to them. I love them. I feed them ice cream. They click their heels on the mirror where they're stored when they want some attention.
All I know is I never want to see that weird idol thing again. It was tall and skinny, and I don't know what it was, but I was convinced that it was gonna like tip over and touch me, and I just like could not. Whatever that thing was.
It's an African sex deity.
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, I remember the pictures. Yes,
it's horrifying, and I hate it.
As Robert Hicks pointed out, aren't they moving the museum to Salem?
Yes. Okay, here we go. No, they're not. They're trying to. Please, I can't. I'm so upset about it. That was a jump scare, Rob. Better than any jump scare in Conjuring Last Rites. Anyway, that's it. That was the one I was talking about. They are they went before like city council or whatever to request the permits, but they want to put this museum in a residential area, which I believe is going to be near Blackcraft, so like right on Essex Street, but like the other end of Essex Street where all the houses are. This is their proposal, at least. And then they're asking for it to be open until 2 a.m. when nothing in Salem is open until 2 a.m. They want like a food truck or something, I don't know, something in the parking lot. Their plan to control the crowds, which all they have experience with controlling right now are the people that they have in the house, like 13 people at a time, however many people at a time. They're projected to run 72 people an hour or something to that effect. My numbers aren't necessarily right, but like 72 people or something an hour through the museum. And they are going to they think that they have a plan to have a staff member escort everyone from the building to their car after a certain time to like keep them off the streets of Salem. Ridiculous, never gonna happen. People are not gonna be quiet. Also, he's calling it the Haunted Object Museum, like the Warrens Haunted Object Museum, although it is claiming that he's not claiming that anything is haunted. So make that make sense. And then he's also procuring things because he's saying it's about the history of the items and this, that, and the other thing, but then yet also is making rooms with like serial killer things that he's procuring and like all this other stuff to try to make it like it has nothing to do with the Warrens or their anything. So this is a proposal that's gone up in front of city council that has not been approved yet. So it is not necessarily coming to Salem. I cannot for the life of me see Salem City Council approving this because nothing about it makes sense for Salem. There is no, it's not going to be able to run like that. And literally nothing in Salem is open until 2 a.m. So people they're not going to be able to get trains back anywhere. They're not going to be able to catch a ferry to leave. They're not going to if they're not driving there, they're not leaving. So you're not going to, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's that.
Well, do you have some quotes on that note?
So not a very quotable movie. I did do two. One was, and we kind of touched on this already, when Ed says, don't touch anything. Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or has been used in some sort of ritualistic practice. Nothing's a toy, not even the toys. And the reason why I wrote that down is because, number one, they say it in every movie, every time he walks into that room, which is their occult museum that I went to. But they also say that in real life, like that. I was given that speech when I went there, so it's not repetitive to me. It's almost amusing, like a little callback whenever they do that, because I experienced that. And then he says, once we start, there's no going back. Anything can happen, and most likely anything will. And I thought that was pretty apropos, because why, anytime you're dealing with the paranormal or witchcraft, that can happen. Prepare for the unexpected. So not a very quotable movie, but those are my quotes.
Well, maybe Jason has more to add to this story right now.
I am clutching my goats hard as I prepare for the curses that will be thrown my way. But here we go. Few people have ever known as much about the occult as Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed was a master strategist who knew just how to deal with demonic forces. Spry as a cat his entire life, Ed was always ready for the rigors of an investigation and always open-minded. He would never suggest a ghost or demon was present in a house unless he was absolutely sure. And he sure as heck never tried to make a quick buck from his paranormal investigations. Lorraine has been called the most gifted psychic of the modern era, and her ability to commune with angels, demons, and the dead is legendary. Lorraine was so sensitive to outside forces that she only had to walk into a room to know whether or not there were otherworldly presences there. She was also able to look into the hearts and minds of the living, always aware when someone was lying to her or someone was suffering from disbelief. She was once tested by a group of scientists at Harvard University, and they all came away convinced that Lorraine truly had psychic powers. Over the course of 40 years investigating the paranormal, Ed and Lorraine faced down 666 demons, 87 haunted dolls, encountered 1,327 ghosts, and had numerous meetings with Lucifer, the Prince of Darkness himself. The devil once took the Warrens into a desert for 40 days and 40 nights, promising Ed and Lorraine the world and a movie deal, but they would not cave. Yes, only Ed, Lorraine, and Jesus himself were able to resist the full force of the devil. These are achievements that will never be duplicated. Such was the greatness of the Warrens. But it's April Fool's Day, so April Fools, perhaps their greatest achievement of all was convincing witches that they could be trusted. I am constantly amazed that any witch would give two craps about Ed and Lorraine and what they had to say about anything. If you were to walk up to the Warrens and say, I'm a witch, they would accuse you of being demonic and certainly wouldn't accept your religious and or spiritual choices. They are also responsible for contributing to the satanic panic, indirectly ruining real lives and creating conspiracy theories out of thin air. Did Ed and Lorraine sometimes stumble into real circumstances that were supernatural? Yes, I absolutely believe that they did. Can you trust anything they wrote about those situations? I'm of the opinion that you most certainly cannot. Their entire worldview was poisoned by a very narrow evangelical-like Catholicism that didn't truly accept other Christianities, let alone other religions or philosophies. Not every supernatural encounter can be fixed with some holy water and an unauthorized exorcism. I watched this movie when it first came out on HBO Max late last fall, knowing that eventually I would be asked about it. I did not watch it a second time before this show. As I said before, I liked the first film, despite knowing that its portrayal of Ed and Lorraine was entirely fictional. The second movie wasn't horrible, but the third movie absolutely ruined any interest or connection I had to this franchise. That film was as much based on a true story as Star Wars, and its portrayal of witches and witchcraft was abhorrent. The Conjuring universe, as I said before, is the MCU for Catholics. And the idea that Lorraine's touch can restore life to dead babies and the Warrens were plagued by a demon in a mirror for 20 years is just absolute bullocks. Despite it all, this movie made nearly $400 million at the box office. But as a great song once put it, the world is full of stupid people.
Well, there you go. I guess there's only one thing left to do after that. Wands up or wands down?
I will not be hexing anyone tonight. April Fools. Okay.
My wand is absolutely up because I normally would shy away from anything that was so devoted to Christianity.
I don't buy this for a second.
You're right, April Fools.
I love that I had the same thing happen to me as Jason. I had seen it like way back when it first came out, and then I watched it again yesterday. I was like 15 minutes into the film, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I've already seen this before, and it was so unmemorable. Like it was absolutely erased from my memory banks.
Is that down?
Here's
for
what
you,
I will
Courtney?
say. Oh,
Is that
what?
down? Is that down for you?
No, it's up.
Well, the handle.
I'm
should
holding
be at
the
bottom
scissors.
then.
I'm holding scissors in the safe way, Jason, unless you want me to cut you with them. Anyway, what I was going to say is I don't disagree with anything that anyone here has said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good movie. I just liked it. So,
Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
but I will be cursing you. Just because I'm feeling feisty today.
How are we doing in the comments? We got a wands up there. We got wands ugh. That's a new one. We got a wands ugh. And I didn't see it. I vote for the Warrens are the worst. Wands down for a movie that continues to flog a very dead horse.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
good night to everyone except the two, or good night only to the two people who said one's up. You are with me, and everyone else, your name is going in my jar. So
Also, can we like have a way less of insanely grinning demons? Like, I'm so done with that
Right?
trope. I'm so
I cannot
over it.
be done with it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
It's too scary.
it's so
Have you
stupid.
seen this? Have you
It's
seen
so
the
dumb.
Smile movies?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I was dating somebody who made me watch it, and I was like, I hate you.
Creepy.
hold on. I will die on this hill. Smile 1. I was so excited to go see because the trailer scared the ever living you know what out of me. Okay. I was so excited to see it. I sat through it at the movie theater and I hated every second of it because everything that was scary in the entire movie was in the trailer. So they
Yep.
ruined the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So I was dragged kicking and screaming to see Smile 2. And I went solely to hate watch it just so I could, you know, it was like $5 Tuesday. I don't know, whatever, just so I could be mad about it. Because I needed something to be mad about. And that movie I saw like 3 times in the movie theater. It was so good. And if I had not given it, I didn't even give it a chance. I went to hate watch it, but I love Smile 2. Yeah.
Well,
The first one was the worst thing I've ever seen in the entirety of my life.
there's the second one. It is a little confusing, but we're running out of time. Oh God.
Why are we doing that to me?
So running
Rob,
out of
your
time.
name is going in the jar too. So good luck.
So now that we don't, there's the Smurfs. You knew that was coming. I was waiting for it.
La 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 la.
Come and Smurf along. So anyone have anything Smurfy going on at any time coming up?
Well, Lisa asked me about when the movie you could see me, and it is called UPC, unplayable character UPC. Anyway, it should be coming out in June. I'm not certain where you'll see it, but you can see it. You can find me everywhere on the socials of media. I will keep you updated as much as I know anything.
I'll be at the Florida Pagan Gathering over Beltane weekend, just outside of Orlando, Florida.
Anyone else?
I got nothing until October when we're doing Mass Paracon.
Yeah, I'm writing right now, so
That's right.
I'm very boring.
And I am flying to Austin on Friday for Austin Witch Fest. I'm going to be there with Thumper Forge, who guests sometimes here. I'm really excited about that. And a number
I'm so jealous.
Thumper's great. And if you're watching Thumper, can't wait to see you in a couple days, and a lot of other people. So Austin Witch Fest happens every year in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
So, and Jason, I believe you've been there. It's a great event, right? You've been there twice.
Wonderful event. Almost 1,000 witches deep in the heart of Texas. Austin is a wonderful city. You're going to have a truly great time. And people who run it are top notch.
Yep, they are. And then 2 weeks after that, I head to Pacific Spirit Northwest in Portland, which is a newer 3-day conference for pagans and witches. And I'm looking forward to that too. And I'll see another one of our guests, Jenny C. Bell, there, and a bunch of other wonderful folks. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. That's what I have coming up. Who knows what else?
Heather out there living all of our dream lives, seeing all of our friends. Rude.
That's what I do. I just go and check out my friends. I'm hoping to see all y'all soon enough. So, and we are planning for Mystic South. So Atlanta, let me just get y'all on that. Think about it. Come in July to Atlanta, Mystic South, another pagan conference where lots of witchy folks come together. That is mid-July. So with that, anything else going on?
Happy Easter if you celebrate,
That's right.
I guess.
That's right.
Happy Passover if you celebrate. Yeah, enjoy the spring. Don't get fooled the rest of the day.
The next few hours.
I can't believe how that no one bought the fact that I was so in love with this movie. I'm a little bit disheartened. I'm an awful actor.
Yep, and well, you did okay. Well, let's talk
Courtney
about.
has run away from us.
I think you gave it away in your synopsis.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think you did okay. And then we didn't mention again, next week's movie is Spellbinder. So make sure you watch it. It's available on a bunch of streaming platforms. It is a 1980s movie, and you can see it there. Spellbinder. You guys are gonna love it. And it's
laughing.
Feels like I'm coming down with something. But
oh no, Courtney! I can't wait for you to watch this one. Definitely, for sure. And with that, I think there's only one thing left to do. I think we have to cackle, everyone. So, you ready? 1, 2, 3, cackle away.